There is a common misconception that when it comes to losing weight, men have an advantage over women. But this is not really true. It does actually seem to be true in the short term, like say after 2 months of dieting. But after 6 months, the advantage that men have over women when it comes to losing weight disappears. Sometimes this myth is perpetuated by articles like this, with headlines that say, "There's now scientific proof men lose weight more quickly than women." Now, I don't believe that all articles on healthline.com are misleading, but the trouble with this particular article is the only scientific study it cites is this one. This study, published in 2018 on 2,500 overweight individuals with pre-diabetes who went on a diet, did conclude that the men lost more weight on average, specifically 16% more weight, than the women did. But there are some problems with coming to the conclusion that men lose weight faster than women do, based upon the results of this study. Even though it is true that the average man in this study lost 16% more weight than the average woman did, the difference was the average man lost 11.8% of his body weight, and the average woman lost 10.3% of her body weight, which isn't really that big of a difference when you think about it. But even more importantly, this study only lasted for 8 weeks. There is evidence that men do lose weight faster in the first couple months or 8 weeks of going on a diet, but after 6 months or so, there is no difference. In this more long-term study published in 2014, it found that after going on the same diet for 2 months, men on average lost weight at twice the rate as women. But at 6 months, the rate of weight loss had evened out, meaning that over the long term, men don't really have an advantage over women when it comes to losing weight. And when it comes to weight loss, the long term is what really counts. The fact that women naturally have a higher body fat percentage than men do does not mean that women are naturally fatter or are naturally more overweight than men. The American Council on Exercise categorizes people into 5 different categories based upon their body fat percentage. Those categories are essential fat, athlete, fitness, average, and obese. But as you can see, there is a difference in how men and women are classified. In nearly all cases in which someone has less than 32% body fat, a man with the same body fat percentage will fall in a different category as a woman with the same body fat percentage. For example, according to this chart, a woman with a 19% body fat percentage falls in the athlete category, whereas a man with a 19% body fat percentage falls in the average category. As you can see from this diagram, men with a certain body fat percentage will appear to be carrying more body fat than a woman with the same body fat percentage. The male figure with a 35% body fat percentage does appear to have a lot more excess body fat than the female figure with a 35% body fat percentage. Now, both of these people would be classified as obese if you go by the American Council on Exercise guidelines. However, it actually is the case that the man would be carrying a higher proportion of excess body fat than the woman would at this percentage. In addition, obesity could have more negative health consequences for men as it does for women. That's because men are more likely to store excess fat around their waist, whereas women are more likely to store excess fat around their hips and thighs. Fat stored around the waist is more likely to be visceral fat as opposed to subcutaneous fat. Visceral fat is fat stored around the internal organs, and it is known that visceral fat has a tendency to cause more health consequences like heart disease or diabetes than subcutaneous fat does. So when it comes to the ability to lose weight, this is one area in which women need not be envious of men. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon for notifications, join the Zork army, and together we shall take over the world. I upload 5 videos a month. You can also catch me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at ZorkMid123.